Hello and welcome to the Community Garden on WMUC Digital College Park Radio. We've got a great show for you guys tonight. Musical guest of the week, Israel Vibration, and this is off of their album, 4. The track is called Babylon by Bus. Hope you guys enjoy.
Tracking through your area, Babylon by bus. Just to teach the people well, unite them righteous. No time to argue or debate. Love and unity we trot from state to state. Teach your children, black, brown and the white. So when they grow up, they love and unite. All them are drugs gonna keep them low. Them food, clothes and shelter, let them go. Don't fight children. Black, brown, white, we must start unite. A jobless children, throw away racial fuss and fighting, Cause when we irate, we fit so tightly, and there's no one who can come between us. Open your eyes and look within. Are your dreams of love and happiness fulfilling? Homeless people or hungry children, it's a breeding ground for crime. You got to help them. Love and sharing, Black, brown, white, no more false pretending. It's togetherness, children, Truth and rights, I defending, Some don't want us together. All they want is to see us kill each other. So them a plot and so them sing, causing racial riots, deadly bloody scenes. Do you want that or do you want this? Then forward up yourself and don't resist this. Shalom feeling, black, brown, white, what a lovely feeling. Togetherness, children, Feel so good you want to touch the ceiling, Babylon by bus, we bring you Jana sound. If you stick around, we won't let you down. Whoa, tracking through your area, Babylon by bus. Just to teach the people well, unite them righteous. No time to argue or debate. Love and unity we trot from state to state. Teach your children, black, brown and white. So when they grow up, they love and unite. All them are drugs gonna keep them low. Give them food, clothes and shelter, let them go. Don't fight children, Black, brown, white, we must start uniting. We are jobless children, Throw away racial fuss and the fighting, Cause when we irate, we fit so tightly, and there's no one who can come between us. Open your eyes and look within. Are your dreams of love and happiness fulfilling? Homeless people or hungry children, it's a breeding ground for crime. You got to help them. Love and sharing, Black, brown, white, no more false pretending. It's togetherness, children, Truth and rights, I defending, Some don't want us living together. All they want is to see us kill each other. So them a plot and so them scheme, causing racial riots, deadly bloody scene. Do you want that or do you want this? Then forward up yourself and don't resist this. Shalom feelings, black, brown, white, what a lovely feeling. It's togetherness, children, Feel so good you want to touch the ceiling, yeah. Oh, yeah. Together as children, a black, brown, white children. Oh, angel light, a children. Let's unite, children.
Welcome back to the Community Garden. You guys just listened to a track called Babylon by Bus off of Israel's 1993 album, 4. It's a pretty awesome track, and I'm really excited to get listening to some Israel Vibration.
Dude, absolutely. So, Matt, how is your semester doing?
Man, my semester is going well. We talked a little bit about the academic side of things last week. But like we mentioned, there's also a personal side of that story.
Absolutely. A personal side, which includes a lot of relationships.
Absolutely.
A lot of relationships.
Life is all about relationships. We interact with people every day.
Absolutely. And it's funny because when you hear the word relationship, a lot of people automatically think of like romantic relationship.
Right.
But a relationship, and like the root of the word is relation. It's your relation to another person or to another group of people. So you have relationships that you negotiate every day. You have relationships with your family, with your friends, and possibly even romantic relationships as well.
It's interesting that you mentioned that it's a spectrum because being in a relationship is not a static activity. You know, you go through ups and downs in all relationships.
That is just a very timely statement. I think that I am recently coming out, as you know, of a romantic relationship, and I approached that relationship in a static way. I thought that like, okay, we're in this relationship, and so it's good, and I didn't really approach it as this dynamic thing and this thing that needs energy and needs work and
just attention, man.
Absolutely.
You need to be mentally involved in how you're feeling. And if this is a romantic relationship, especially how your partner is feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we all have our stories with romantic relationships, but you learn from all of them. I know personally that I've learned from a couple of them, man.
For sure. I mean, really, I've only really been involved in 2 romantic relationships. One when I was a child. I was like in 8th grade. And then one very recently, you know, I was a sophomore in college.
How did that feel?
It was weird because I had these preconceived notions of and like these memories of how my relationship was, my only previous romantic relationship. And I was in 8th grade, you know, I was 13, 14 years old. And like I knew that I was a changed person, but I wasn't sure if those same tendencies would come back in this relationship, you know, when the relationship was kind of flowering.
Dude, it's so funny that you bring that because I feel in my past relationship, one of the reasons that you know, it ended up ending is because we were still growing as people. I'm still growing as a person now. And we spent a good long time together, but it was just time. And you just grow apart from people.
For sure.
So that's actually an interesting question, Dylan. Do you believe in a soulmate? Can you meet someone who is your soulmate? You're going to be with them for the rest of your life.
So that's interesting. And I actually don't think that there's one soulmate.
Okay.
Because I have met, and I've actually noticed this in people that I've met, specific people. I'll meet a person, and this person will just be an amazing source of energy for me, and I'll really feel instantly a real connection to them. So much so that I often find myself asking that person, like when it's the first time we've met, if we've met before.
Really?
And I've noticed that in about 4 people that I've met in my life, and all 4 of those people have had a significant impact on my life, and I would feel like that we are soulmates from the minute I met them.
All women?
All women. All women. But not in a romantic way at all.
Right.
Really. It was
well,
just
that's why I was curious if you were looking at this in a romantic light or not.
Well, one of them, yes, I did.
Okay.
I did see in a romantic light.
Was this the previous relationship you were talking about?
No, this was someone that I met
in 8th grade?
After freshman year of college, the summer after freshman year of college. I spent 2 months with this person in a very close setting when we were in Israel. And
you were in Israel for 2 months?
2 months.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I did an internship there, like with this program, and one of the people that was on my program was this person. And like the first night we met, or like the first day we met, we spoke for like 4 hours, and we spoke about everything, and there was no breaks in conversation. And I ended the conversation with, "Have we met before?" Like, and not in like an ironic way, just really like I felt like I had interacted with this person, or at least this energy before.
No, dude, that's funny, man. Yeah. And you know, it's interesting how where is she from?
California.
Right. So your time was limited. You guys had a clock. And that is one interesting thing about relationships is, you know, the thought might cross your mind, romantic relationships, this is a committal romantic relationship. When will this end? Will it end?
And how will it end?
And how will it end? Do you think when that thought crosses your mind, that's when you know it will end? Or do you think that people...
from personal experience, yes.
Yeah, me too. I'm a thinker like that, dude.
Yeah.
It's just once and then just it's in my mind.
Well, because you can't put that thought away.
I know.
You spend so much time with this person, you get really close to this person, and then you start thinking like, oh, when or how or like if this will end. And I mean, it's probably going to.
Right. I mean, it will in one way or the other, just by the fact of time. But
so what are your thoughts on marriage?
Oh,
on
you know, I thought about this
marriage.
today. Okay, this is an interesting time because I have for the past couple years thought, you know, I wouldn't get married, I wouldn't have kids, but recently that idea is kind of changing in my head.
So what were those original thoughts coming from? Like, where were those original thoughts coming from? Of like, I won't get married, I won't have a kid. Do you think it was like a rebellious, independent phase?
It could have been. It could have been like the discovery of my independence and kind of like coming into a rebellious phase, like you're saying. But I don't know. I also see the freedom in not being attached to somebody like that.
I agree, but maybe it doesn't have to be like a negative thing. Like attachment, I think you're associating attachment with like being tied down. What if attachment, I heard this great analogy one time of like, you know you're in love with someone when you sit down in this same hot tub, and this hot tub is now like the universe that you exist in, and you exist in this tub together. And it's kind of abstract, but I like the sentiment that like being attached to someone forever could be like this unlocking thing where now you're going through life, but you're with your best friend.
Right. Dude, that's I'd say that's a very optimistic way to look at it.
Definitely.
I see myself as an optimist, but I don't know. Sometimes I see myself as a pessimist when it comes to love. And maybe that's because in a relationship I was just in, the commitment was too much for me. You know, I didn't find that freedom that I needed. And the problem lied in the biggest part about me was her, and I wasn't comfortable with that.
That's really interesting because that was a really driving factor in the ending of my most recent relationship as well. Was like the biggest part of me was her. That's a great way of saying it. I mean, inclusive of everyone. The biggest part of me was them. Like it doesn't have to be her, but you're so right.
It's tough. Right. I mean, I wanted to grow as an individual. Like, I want to be an interesting person, not only, you know, for the pleasure of others, so somebody else might come and see me as like a suitable partner because I'm into things and, you know, get them inspired into things. Yeah. But just for myself, you know, I don't want to live a static, boring life. We got one life, and if you do it right, you know, it's enough.
For sure. So, interesting part about relationships, which is a really good segue into our musical guest today, is a big part of relationships is experiencing pain with another person. And there is no better, well, there's probably one or two better examples, but there's not really a better example than Israel Vibration, our musical guest. These three musicians met together in a rehabilitation hospital when they were children because they all had childhood polio. Talk about experiencing pain with another person or with two other people, and then they went on to make reggae music for 40 years.
Yeah, from the 1980s. Well, another cool, interesting fact about our guest is the first album that they recorded in the United States was recorded right here in College Park, Maryland. right down the road, literally right on Route 1, right on Baltimore Avenue, a recording studio called Lion and Fox Recording Studio, and it's still there today.
The recording studio is still there today.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it's pretty incredible, man. And that started them on this wild tour throughout the United States and the world. And we're going to get you guys into a track right now. This is a track by Israel Vibration off of their 2011 album, Reggae Nights. It's a great track. We love it. It's called My Master's Will. Hope you guys enjoy.
Master's will, I see the sun shining today. Don't know what it's gonna bring. You see, I give thanks to come what's may. Of my lazy morsels, I surely thankfully receive. Ain't gonna sit down here, cry, worry, no grief. Yeah, I give a little air, I give a little there, and I keep a little for myself. Life is so unfair, yet it's good to share when you try to help someone else. Never see the brings behind the earth. You cannot hold on to your golden purse. If there is nothing that you can do, helping someone worse off than you. I give a little air, I give a little there, and I keep a little for myself. Life is so unfair, yet it's good to share, but it's nice to help someone else. Break up bread, sup of tea, a fish for you and a fish for me. Or there is nothing that you can do, helping someone worse off than you. It's my master's will that I see the sun shining today. Don't know what it's gonna bring, but I give thanks, come what may. Of my measly morsels, I surely thankfully receive. Ain't gonna sit down here, cry, worry or grieve. Yeah, I give a little air, I give a little there, and I keep a little for myself. Life is so unfair, yet it's good to share, and it's nice to help someone else. See the brings behind the purse. Cannot hold on to your golden purse. Or there is nothing that you can do, helping the brother worse off than you. Hey, give a little air and give a little there, and I keep a little for myself. Life is so unfair, but it's good to share, and it's nice to help someone else. It's my master's will that I see the sun shining today. Don't know what it's gonna bring, but I give thanks, come what may. I give a little air, and I give a little there, and I keep a little for myself. Life is so unfair, but it's good to share, and it's nice to help someone else. I give a little bit air, and I keep a little there, and I keep well. Life is so unfair, but it's good to share, and it's nice to help someone else. Give a little for myself. Give a little. Wake up bread and a sup of tea. Fish for you, fish for me. Life can be so easily. Hey, you give a little bit air, you give a little bit there, and you keep a little for myself. Life isn't fair, but it's only that I share and try someone else. Give a little here, give a little there, keep a little for myself.
You guys just listened to a track called Red Eyes off of Israel Vibration's 1991 album Forever. And then before that, you were listening to a cool track called My Master's Will off of their 2011 album Reggae Nights.
Amazing stuff from Israel Vibration, and something that we were talking a little bit more about in our last reggae episode with the band called Culture was that reggae music really highlights these social issues and thematically highlights the importance of doing good for other people. And I think that really represents, or that idea really represents our guest today, which is Ben Reichard. I pronounce
Reichard.
Reichard. Yeah. Well, Ben, welcome to the Community Garden. And just to give you a little introduction about yourself, you are the vice president of the Residence Hall Association, which is really a huge deal on this campus, and it's a really large position. Something else is that you play poker.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of your life. And last but not least is that you are a member of, you were inducted into ODK, Omicron Delta Kappa.
Yes, sir.
At UMD. Congratulations about that.
Well, thank you so much,
and welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I got a message from Matt a couple weeks ago, asked me to come on, and I hadn't talked to Matt in a couple months, but that was nice. I enjoy being here. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much for coming on. And I knew when we talked at that new student orientation that you were coming on the show. So thank you for finally helping us make it work, and we're happy to have you here.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, absolutely, dude. Well, I mean, when you stroll into this campus, first you see the big M, right? Mm-hmm. And then you take that left turn up Regents, and you just see the fountain and the mall. And right there, man, that's ODK Fountain. Mm-hmm. And what an honor it is to be inducted into that society.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. When I first came onto campus, I spent some time there at the fountain. You know, when you're a freshman, you don't have a lot to do. You can kind of hang out a little bit. One of my first Facebook profile pictures was of like me standing on the fountain there. But anyway, like I saw that, and I saw that the pantheon of names. Just like all the people who had left their mark on campus. And when I saw that, I pretty much knew right from the start that, you know, I had to do something to get my name on that fountain. So it kind of started with, you know, almost a selfish motive, right? Like, man, I want my name on that fountain. Like, I want to leave my legacy. But, you know, that kind of inspired me to put myself out there, get a little more involved. But as I got more involved, and as I started meeting people and starting, you know, to like really realize what kind of impact a student can have on campus, it became like the fountain that wasn't even a thing, right? Like that became secondary. It's way more important to leave a different kind of legacy, and that's the actual change you make on campus. It doesn't matter if they remember your name or not. If you can have a positive influence, you can have a positive impact. That's so much more meaningful. You'll feel so much better about that.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And Ben, I've had the honor of serving in RHA with you for 2 years, and I can say with certainty that the work that you're doing is clearly so inspired by, you know, just helping the community. And I say that because it's often juxtaposed with some people who come through RHA or SGA just for, you know, the title or the resume itself. So, you know, thank you for doing that work. And
of course.
What a great way to, although it's not the reason, what a great way to leave your mark on campus, being a part of that great legacy of that fountain there.
Yeah.
So I just have a quick question.
Yeah,
I don't know much about ODK. Do you like have a little information about, I don't even whether or not to call it a society or?
Yeah,
that's true. I was
a
little
society.
Confused too, man.
Yeah, I would call it an honor society.
Honor society. And what does someone have to do to get their name on the fountain?
Yeah, sure. So ODK has basically 5 pillars of different ways you can be involved around campus. Like the main one I was, you know, is for like campus leadership, but it's also like academics, media involvement, arts, you know, stuff like that. So there are plenty of people like from the marching band, people from the Diamondback, you know, so it's not just like you have to be like this very visible student leader to be, you know, to be inducted in ODK.
Gotcha.
There's a couple different ways you can do it, but yeah, it's like it's a network of like-minded people, a lot of driven people. Building your network is always so important. I'm a government politics major. Like honestly, like a lot of my professional development and like preparation for life after college has very little to do with the classes I take. It has way more to do with like the people I meet and the hands I shake. So.
I would agree. I would agree with that, and I think a lot of people would agree with that as well. And there is something else that I'm curious about ODK is that you don't really apply for it, right?
Well, you do apply. There's a process. Basically, you list all these different involvements you're in. Typically, you will not. It's pretty rare to be inducted on, or to be accepted on your first application.
Gotcha.
They look for kind of like some devotion,
consistency,
dedication.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my confusion was that I've seen people get inducted into ODK, and it's like they're friends. There's like a ceremony with your friends giving you some pin
that's the
or
tapping.
something.
Yeah,
tapping.
They tap you and give you the little key.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was very, very cool. I had a pretty cool. I got tapped alongside Brian Gallion and Emily Berry, two very good friends of mine.
And Brian's the president of RHA.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
what is Emily doing?
Emily is administrative officer.
Okay, awesome.
In RHA. She's
Oh,
involved in a
wow.
bunch
The
other
three
stuff,
of
too.
you got tapped together.
Yeah, so that was really cool. We got tapped. One of my other very good friends, Rick McCoulis, who was already in ODK.
Oh, I know Rick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't know Rick?
Yeah,
Honestly,
everyone knows
Rick is all over.
Really?
Yeah, but yeah. So basically, you submit an application, then they review it, and then they go around and give people an individual tapping ceremony, which is pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Dude, that's awesome, man. And so, I mean, we talk about the recognition, but I kind of want to dive in why you're getting recognized. You know, what's going on in RHA? What are you guys up to?
Yeah, sure. So we had a pretty big Senate meeting this past Tuesday, passed 3 pretty important resolutions. So one of the projects that RHA has been working on for quite a while now, actually, is basically you guys all, pretty much everyone who comes to UMD has to take the alcohol EDU, the module, before you come in, right? So that module is aimed at, changing behavior, So there's an idea that maybe we could do a module like that, but instead of like alcohol, you focus on like sustainable living, green living, things like, what can you and can you not recycle? What can you compost? How long should your showers be, for goodness sakes? Stuff like that. So some people have been working on one of our committees, our sustainability committee, to get this module going for quite some time, but it's really gained some steam this semester.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So right now we're in the process of getting a bunch of letters of support for this thing. We're going to call it Green EDU. Is the working name for now.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so great because Dylan and I were actually just having a conversation about like the effectiveness of like the alcohol policies on campus, and it's just kind of refreshing to see something a little less responsive, but proactive.
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea, to be proactive, because a lot of people come from different backgrounds. Like, back home, like they could recycle this, but maybe you can't here, or people just have a whole bunch of different behaviors. So if we can be a little more proactive and inspire these people to live green coming into college, hopefully that will last throughout all 4 years.
And like you said, not only
beyond, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, like we're creating good terps and green terps, but dude, really, I mean, we're all going out into society and we want to create good neighbors.
Absolutely. Like we said in our last episode, these 4 years are not don't exist independently of the rest of your life.
Right.
Like, did I say 3?
No, you said 4.
Okay, 4. These 4 years don't exist independently, and so like when you learn these skills of sustainable living now, you have them forever.
And it's interesting because, not everybody that comes to Maryland came from a background where being sustainable was a priority.
Yeah.
And, we have all these like gen ed requirements, and you're supposed to get this holistic education, and you don't always get it through your classes. You could get it through just like, a university sanctioned activity like
and
this.
And the idea is that this isn't very, this won't be strenuous. This
Absolutely.
won't take hours.
Absolutely.
It's just kind of like an intro, hey, here's like some very simple things you can do, dramatically, decrease your carbon footprint.
Mm-hmm.
So you say it won't be like rigorous, but like what are you guys shooting for in terms of time or format?
A lot of the like specific details like that are yet to be worked out. Right now it's kind of like in the approval phase.
Gotcha.
Making sure it's good with the administration, good with the relevant actors, whatever we got to do to get it on that slate of things that the freshmen have to complete before they come in.
It is a lot.
But the idea is still, not to make it, super, super long. Just a couple things, just check in, say, hey, here's how here's how you can just live a little greener.
Well, from me, I really appreciate that. It's something that's really important to me, so
Well,
I
thank you. We
appreciate that
it, too.
initiative.
I got to shout out Calvin Burns, Senator at Large, who's been really
Love
driving
Calvin.
this.
Love Calvin. Dude, him and I play Frisbee together. And,
do you?
yeah, and, we met at RHA, and it's pretty great. And, well, speaking about living green, let's listen to a little track by Israel Vibration called Payday off of their 1981 album, Strength of My Life. Hope you guys enjoy.
One day, got to be payday. One day, got to be payday. Payday.
You guys just heard a track called Payday off of Israel Vibration's 1981 album, Strength of My Life. Pretty cool track.
Pretty cool track. And now we're transitioning into our favorite segment of the week, Tree of the Week. This week, we are starting at the Tree of the Week. And this tree is on Chapel Drive. It is one of the only fruit-bearing trees on campus. And the fruit is persimmons. And a lot of people have probably passed this tree, haven't recognized it. Maybe you've recognized like this, goopy shit on the ground, which is the
What does a
fruit
persimmon
that's
look
fall.
like? I don't even know.
A persimmon looks like a large grape.
Right.
It tastes very sweet, like kind of lychee-ish, peachy. It's really sweet. It's a fruit. It's got a pit in the middle. It looks like a large cherry, large grape. It's red.
Have you ate one off this tree?
I have eaten one off this tree. I actually eaten one off the tree and one off the ground. Actually, the ground ones are more ripe and they're more sweet. They're actually ready to fall off the tree. But a lot of squirrels like them, so
get out there, do some persimmon picking.
Absolutely. I recommend everyone listening and spread the word. Try it with your friends, see how it is, rate it, something like that. But this tree is awesome. It's also one of the first trees to lose all of its leaves on campus, which was amazing today in this gray, snowy, sleety day. But what's amazing is that the tree has no leaves, but it's got all of its fruit. It has like all these dangling little fruit balls, and it's beautiful. So we're gonna start at the Tree of the Week, walk down with the chapel on your right, Marymount on your left, down that little hill. You're only going to be walking for about 30 seconds until you hit Regents Drive, the corner of Chapel Drive and Regents Drive, with the chapel field in front of you. I recommend crossing Regents Drive so you're not looking at all the cars, and then just look out over Chapel Field. Look out over Frat Row, look out over Route 1. You get one of the best expansive views on campus. You don't come across a lot of expansive views on campus. This one, you're perched on top of a little hill. All of the land in front of you is at a lower elevation, and you get some really nice trees. The colors right now are amazing, just speckled with green and orange and red and yellow, and some bare. And then you just get this really nice, expansive view. It's a great spot for a deep breath. It's a great spot for anything.
Cool, man. Go ahead and check out that path of the week. And when you're walking down Chapel Drive, go ahead and look left at Marymount Hall there and check out those badass staircases that they have on the outside of there. It's you don't really notice it, but it's a wild architectural feature.
Check out Marymount Hall. They've got a lot of cool stuff going on at Marymount Hall.
Just take a lap. You'll see 3 different spots you've never even seen before.
And if you're taking a lap and you see something that looks like a place for people to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are some tiny holes in there, and you just got to go. And, speaking about that and getting expansive views on campus, if you get a chance to climb on top of a building, I mean, you just got to do it. We were all talking about it, us and Ben, about a couple different spots. We won't disclose any tonight.
Yeah,
it's up to you. You got to go out and find them, man. You're not going to find these spots on. You probably will find them on Reddit, but get out there and see if there's a little ledge or a little ladder you can just jump on. Have some fun.
Well, we're back here with Ben. Ben, I have a few questions about the Residence Hall Association. I don't want these to be like accusatory statements, and I just really mean them as curious questions as a fellow resident on campus. There's a mold problem this year.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious about it. Not everyone has all of the facts. I'm not saying that you do.
Right.
I don't really know when it started, what the current status is, what like the response was. Like, if you have any information, I'd love to know.
Yeah. So we talked to some people in Res Life and Res Facilities about this issue. So basically, the crux of the problem was there was an issue in Elkton with their HVAC system. They do regular maintenance, and they check in on that HVAC system. I'm pretty sure they checked on it a couple months ago. In fact, something must have went wrong. You're probably aware there's a pretty humid August and September.
Oh my gosh!
So something must have just gone wrong. And so obviously there's a lot of mold in people's stuff there in Elkton Hall, and obviously that was a bad situation to be in. But we really think that Res Life made the best out of a bad situation. they put people up in hotels, which was kind of like strange, kind of out of nowhere. But in terms of why are students getting put in hotels? Why can't they just stay in their hall? But Res Life thought that was the best solution, for their health. For their safety,
I agree with that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it. That much mold is a public health concern,
Yeah,
so you got to
of
get
course.
those people out of there.
And some people got set up in the hotel, the
Some people
fancy
did get
place
set
over
up in the
there.
hotel.
Hopefully they had a good experience with that too.
Some people got set up in the hotel. Some people got set up in lounges.
Yeah.
Some people had to move buildings. Some people had to move across campus. And from my knowledge, it wasn't just Elkton. There was a couple other places.
Well, I would caution that was a little bit more of a misnomer than you might have believed.
Okay.
Every year there are several isolated incidences
Right.
of mold
That's fair.
in different halls.
And when an issue is brought to the limelight, it's amplified by specific incidences that happen elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. After Elkton happened, students might have started getting a little more nervous, when they saw a little bit of mold,
Right.
oh my gosh, my whole building's under siege. But res facilities went around and checked all those claims, made sure that it wasn't a big issue in any of the other halls. So yeah, I agree. Obviously, it wasn't ideal for anyone to be put in that situation,
Absolutely.
but we do think that Res Life did a pretty good job of managing it.
I think they did a good job of communicating it as well. I got a couple of emails about it.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is brought on by a culture that's kind of happening here at the University of Maryland this year, where there's a lot of retroactive information, especially with the death of Jordan McNair.
Yeah.
And it's good to see a department like Res Life trying to be on top of it as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good transition into the next thing that I wanted to bring up, which is the RHA's push. I mean, a lot of people's push for shared governance at UMD.
Yeah.
And I know that you wanted to speak on this, so please go ahead.
Yeah, a little bit. So UMD here at College Park, we have a whole system of shared governance. So the first thing I want to say about shared governance is, what is it? It's shared. So what does that mean? That doesn't mean that organizations like RHA or SGA or any of these committees or anything have the final word on any single decision, right? So we review budgets for Department of Transportation, for example. If we don't like their budget, we can say oh, we don't like this budget. That doesn't mean that budget's going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
That just means that we're advising the administration, other relevant actors to take a second look at this, review this, maybe understand our issues with it a little bit. So that's the first thing to remember, that in shared governance, we play an advisory role. We don't play a decision-making role as much. That doesn't mean that we don't play an important role in making those decisions, but it's just important that we're advising.
And we meaning RHA?
RHA and student government.
Okay.
Associations abroad. SGA, GSG.
GSG, University Senate.
What's GSG?
Graduate Student Government.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of different bodies across campus.
And it's, I had the opportunity to chair tech in my freshman year.
Yeah.
And
Can you what does that mean?
Oh, great. Thank you.
Oh, here we go.
We're just regressing.
No, just quickly.
Transportation Advisory Committee.
Okay.
And basically, it was cool to see that some of the stuff that we voted on in my tenure there, the RHA Senate voted on. For example, the parking lot that was going to go right outside of Xfinity.
Yep.
The buck kind of stopped there with RHA, and that was really empowering as a student leader to see that we can make that change on campus. So the idea would then be, why can't students have that say on every issue on campus? Right? I'm assuming.
Yeah. So with that issue, so that was a good example. Director David Allen came to RHA, said, you guys represent resident students. This parking lot would benefit resident students primarily. So we want to hear your take. And when RHA said, no, we don't think that would be in our best interest, then they said, okay, well, this was for you. You decided we don't think this was a good idea. So that's kind of how it went. So with more sweeping decisions across the university, it's harder to have such a powerful stake in claiming legitimacy for making that decision. Right. Obviously, with most issues, you wouldn't just check in with RHA. You'd want to check in with SGA, or you'd want to check in with there are literally dozens of advisory committees all across campus with all the different departments and all different kinds of people in them. So there's a lot of stakeholders they got to sort through. But
My question is it too large? Like, does the right hand know what the left is doing? Is that kind of the reason that we're running into some of these problems up top?
Yeah, so I would say that that's part of the problem. Obviously, the issues with the Board of Regents these last couple of weeks, it just seems like, a lot of people who make, maybe not a lot of people, some of the people who make very important decisions for our campus are really out of touch with the campus itself and with the culture of the campus and with the students on campus.
Yeah. And that's where you step in and say, we need shared governance.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's a multi-tiered system, and RHA just plays one small role in that system, but we do try to do what we can to advocate on behalf of resident students.
So at the recent Senate meeting, you said you did 3 things or put 3 resolutions forward.
Yeah.
I know you detailed one of them.
Yeah, so one of them was the Green EDU.
Yeah.
Another one of them is a really cool initiative, actually coming through TAC, coming through Department of Transportation. Department of Transportation has been in contact with some electric scooter providers, and putting their toes in the water to see if electric scooters could come to campus. There's still a lot of negotiation to be done and stuff, but we passed a resolution supporting them to kind of pursue this. There's some pretty cool opportunities with the electric scooters. They're a little easier to use than the bikes in some senses because you don't have to, you just hop on and go. You don't have to pedal. You don't really have to disembark. You just kind of hop off. And
there's no dock. That's the
no,
idea.
there's no. Well, the
Is there
specific one there. Okay, so the primary company they're talking to is this company called Bird, and Bird is the word. So, but they get docked in these places called nests because they're birds.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but basically,
what does a nest look like?
It's just like I guess an area where you just park it.
Okay.
So the electric scooters, they wouldn't get charged there. They get charged overnight. There's a lot of details about this. I don't know off the top of my head right now.
No,
but basically, it seems like a pretty good deal. The university wouldn't be paying exactly for these to come to campus, like
Would the students be paying?
Well, the scooter company would be paying to come to campus, and then obviously the scooter company
would make
charges
that money.
the students.
Yeah.
So, but it kind of like takes out the middlement of the university a little bit. So
just what we were talking about of sorts.
Yeah.
I know that there's going to be probably a lot of backlash about that. Yeah, like safety and providing
Well,
helmets.
that's my
some
question.
concerns. Yeah.
Is I would be more for it if College Park was a little more built for wheeled transportation.
Very good point. Very good point. There's also a huge problem of separating transportation lanes. And I don't mean that in like the literal lanes on the road, but like channels of transportation. Buses are where cars are, where people are, where bikes are, where like skateboards are, like where
all you have to do is
come on, like they're all in the same place. They're all overlapping. Like
stand at the farm or near the farm and look down Regents Drive towards
a
the
mess.
circle,
an absolute
and it's
mess.
just ridiculous.
Now I will say when the Purple Line comes in, this is a couple years down the road, but when the Purple Line comes in, that's going to help clear up some of that traffic there along like the main thoroughfare of campus. They're coming in. They're going to put in some bike lanes. Kind of along when they're doing all that
that's
work.
going to be
That is necessary.
So, and I think the bike lanes are even going to go down Route 1 for some.
That is necessary.
So that'll be pretty nice.
Well, that's awesome.
Dude, we need them, and that's pretty cool. The Purple Line, man, another big transportation.
Oh, yeah.
So go ahead and just detail that for me real quick, just for, I know a lot about it, but for the listeners.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so the Purple Line, probably a lot of people have heard about it. Maybe not everyone knows exactly what it means to be a light rail. So it's not going to be like the metros that you would normally ride, right? It's not going to be this big clunky long train. Basically, it's going to be shorter. It's going to be more. It'd be more like a train cart or a trolley cart or something like that. It will move through campus pretty slow. It's going to be all above ground. It's going to go across the. It's going to go pretty much like down past Stamp, over to the. Connects with the Green Line over at the normal College Park station, but it's not going to be this. It's not going to be this big train that's going to be a huge disruption across campus.
And like kind of zooming out, the Purple Line, its goal is to run from the New Carrollton station all the way to Bethesda. Essentially connecting the Orange Line and the Red Line, going through the Green Line, and what a big problem that WMATA. The Washington Metropolitan Area Transportation Authority is like trying to solve with the implementation of the Purple Line is this problem of like connecting the outer rims
Yeah.
of
Right.
all of these metro
Yeah,
lines.
if I'm
If you
sitting
have
here-
to go, it's from orange to red. You have to go
Yeah.
all the
That'd
way
be a
in.
mess of a ride.
if I'm trying to get to a Redskins game over in Landover here in College Park, I would have to go all the way in
Into
on the
DC,
green line,
yeah.
get off
Uh-huh.
at like Metro Center or Union Station or somewhere, and switch over
Mm-hmm.
to the other line. But this would let you just go from all the way from Silver Spring to College Park to Landover, wherever.
And connecting that to our campus, when I was, working on this with you, we were hit with that it would alleviate in 3 years 1,500 parking
Yeah.
spots of commuters on campus, which is great. Well, Ben, dude, we want to thank you one more time for joining us
No,
tonight.
thank you guys
It's
so
been a
much for
great
having me on.
conversation,
Yes.
and
Really
I
good.
mean, we really just are so thankful for you being here.
Yeah, good tunes, good vibes.
Hey guys, thanks for listening in tonight. We've had a really great night. You guys have been listening to the Community Garden on WMUC Digital. We will be here maybe next Thursday. Watch out for a little special thing coming from us. But every Thursday after that at 11 p.m. until the end of the semester.
And if we don't if we don't reach you all on next Thursday, we wish you all really happy Thanksgiving and to really connect with the people around you while you're enjoying the holiday.
Love your family and love your friends. And
Absolutely.
hey, love yourself. Guys, thanks for listening tonight. We're going to put you to sleep with a track from Israel Vibration called Perfect Love and Understanding off of their 1983 album, Strength of My Life. Hey guys, this is good night from us. Hope you guys have enjoyed.